Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'm Esa Nur Fadilah from English Department Universitas Majalengka. I will explain about listening and speaking for kindergarten. Speaking and listening are the foundation of literacy. Literacy for emotional literacy learners talk much more complex than described here. Involved to interrelate dimensions now as said toward literacy or a literacy set. Literacy set have two. The first one is oral traditions and the second is a book experience. The literacy set begins to develop at the birth and continue as the child interaction with the parents, family, and community. Diversity of family and community experience, including a variety of cultural tradition and language, means that the children arrive in the kindergarten with great difference in their literacy sets. And then the importance of oral language. From birth, children engage in meaningful communication with those around them. Interacting by using bubbles and gesture, all children have the ability to learn language, and they begin to communicate with everyone around them, practicing and rehearsing sounds and gestures and developing their personality and various sets of being. As they experience repeated situations such as more times and play that harder language associated with the situation, and eventually they learn to understand and express themselves in the language. Learners continually use listening and speaking to explore, comprehend, and communicate ideas and feelings from early childhood into adult childhood. Individual use of listening and speaking in day-to-day living and learning is such much greater than his or her use of, for example, reading and writing. Oral language is how we communicate with the others in a wide range of social contexts such as playing, eating, mouth sobbing, and the others. Oral and written language are indirectly connected because the first one, spoken language, is basis from develop of reading and writing, and the second is because spoken and writing language work together to develop language and literacy competence from childhood to adulthood. And third, children who struggle with oral language often have difficulties with reading and writing, and the children who struggle with the reading and writing often have problems with oral language. And last, instruction. Instruction in writing language can develop oral language. The next is about supporting principles. The following concepts and processes have become supporting principles for the classroom model that is at the core of listening and speaking. The first is collaboration, and the second is classroom-based assessment. I will tell about the collaboration. Collaboration among educators enables them to generate and share ideas and strategy and follow research to maximize the classroom learning experience. With the support of school administrator, the cooperation between kindergarten classroom teachers and speech pathologists is an important part. The cooperation between educators begins with the parents. As the first teacher of the children, they are the school's first source of information about the children and their learning. This kind of cooperation between educator, parent, and student will continue to develop and change throughout the child's education process. Classroom-based assessment. Classroom-based assessment refers to the collection of information by educators about what students know and can do in the real learning experience in the classroom. This information collected over time is used to provide descriptive feedback to students and provide information for teaching. In the kindergarten classroom, educators obtain most of the information by observing learners in a literate learning or a teaching environment. Then the teaching can be differentiated to the meet of the different needs of students in the class. Effective educators believe that all students can learn. They help create an environment that invites students to learn, and they welcome to the diversity of the classroom. Educators respond to the different needs of students and differentiate teaching based on their observation to encourage the success of all students. English language are general learning outcomes. The six languages are listening, speaking, viewing, responding, reading, and reading are integrated throughout all five English language are general outcomes. Listening and speaking are two of the six language art. All of the English language are learning outcome in the making of meaning through language. In the early years, much of this making of meaning is through oral language, that is, through listening and speaking. Children make meaning through play and interaction as they explore their home, their classroom, and their community, as they talk with their family, classmates, and others in the school and community, and as they share ideas, feelings, and experience and make connection with others and the world around them. And next, listening and speaking competency areas, a development team of the kindergarten teachers and speech language pathologists work together to look in more depth at how oral language connects to the ELA curriculum. They identified five listening and speaking competency areas that reflect current speech language literature and early childhood literacy such and that can be seen in the ELA glows, conversation, grammar, oral stories, phonology, and vocabulary. This listening and speaking competency area can be stated in detail. The first is conversation. Making meaning through conversation occur when children engage with communication partner and exchange share meaningful and relevant idea and information. The second is grammar. Making meaning through grammar occurs when children understand and use the rule system of a language to enhance comprehension and the clarity of communication. The third is oral stories. Making meaning through oral stories occur when children listen to, create, and share connected ideas and experience. And the next is phonology. Making meaning through the phonological system of language occur when children think about and use sounds in the oral language. And the last is vocabulary. Making meaning through vocabulary occurs when children use and understand words to describe, explain, comprehend, and categorize. Thank you for your attention. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.